All right, let's talk about a retirement strategy that can be a real game changer, but a lot of people don't know much about it: the Roth IRA conversion. Look, if the thought of pulling money out of your accounts in retirement 100% tax-free sounds good to you, then you are definitely in the right place. So let's just kick things off with a huge question. I want you to imagine you're retired. You're living your best life. You go to take some money from that nest egg you worked so hard to build, and you don't owe a single dime of it to the IRS. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not a fantasy. It's exactly what we're going to break down right now. So how do you get there? The answer is something called a Roth IRA conversion. At its core, it's pretty simple. You're just moving money from a pre-tax account, like your traditional IRA or maybe an old 401k, over into a Roth IRA. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. You have to pay the income tax on that money now, in the year you make the move. This right here is the fundamental trade-off. It's what this is all about. With a traditional account, you get the tax break today. Your money grows, and then you pay taxes when you take it out later. With a Roth, it's the opposite. You pay the tax up front, either on your contributions or on a conversion like we're talking about. But in exchange, the growth is tax-free, and your qualified withdrawals are tax-free. It's a simple choice: pay taxes now or pay taxes later. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. Why on earth would I volunteer to pay a big tax bill today? That's the million-dollar question, right? And it's why you have to understand the powerful benefits, the why, before we even get into the how. The number one reason, the biggest carrot on the stick, is tax-free retirement income. By paying those taxes today, at today's tax rates, you are essentially prepaying your tax bill. That means every single qualified dollar you pull out in retirement, the money you converted, and all the earnings it made over the years is all yours. This is an absolutely massive advantage if you think tax rates are going to be higher in the future than they are right now. Okay, benefit number 2 is all about control. It's about you being in the driver's seat. With a traditional IRA, the government eventually makes you start taking money out, usually around age 73. They're called RMDs. But with a Roth IRA, nope, there are no RMDs for you, the original owner. That means your money can just sit there and keep growing tax-free for your entire life if you don't need it. And here's a third big one, especially if you're thinking about the next generation. A Roth IRA can be an amazing estate planning tool. When you pass it on to your kids or grandkids, they'll have to take the money out eventually, but as long as the account has been open for 5 years, those withdrawals are generally tax-free for them too. You're basically giving them a tax-free inheritance. Now, those benefits sound pretty amazing, don't they? But hold on, this move is definitely not a slam dunk for everybody. So now we're going to run the gauntlet. These are the tough questions you absolutely have to ask yourself to figure out if this strategy actually fits your life. First and foremost, and this is the big one, can you actually afford the tax bill? Remember, the amount you convert gets tacked onto your income for the year. And here's the key: you really want to pay that tax bill with money you have sitting in a bank account, not with the retirement money you're converting. Using your retirement funds to pay the tax bill kind of defeats the whole purpose. All right, time to pull out your crystal ball. You need to take a hard look and ask yourself, do I think my tax rate will be higher in retirement than it is today? If you expect your income to go up, or you just think tax rates in general will rise, then paying the tax now at your current lower rate is a brilliant move. But if you think you'll be in a much lower bracket later on, a conversion might not make as much sense. And question 3, how much time do you have? Time is the secret sauce here. The longer your money can sit in that Roth IRA and grow tax-free after the conversion, the more powerful this whole strategy becomes. If you think you might need the cash in just a few years, a conversion is probably not a great idea. And that brings us to a very specific and very important rule. The magic number you have to burn into your brain is 5. It's all about the 5-year rule. Each Roth conversion you do starts its own 5-year clock. To get the full tax-free benefits on the earnings in retirement and to avoid potential penalties, you generally need to wait 5 years. So this is a long-term play. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Okay, so you've weighed the pros, you've weighed the cons, you've answered the tough questions, and you're thinking, yeah, this could be for me. Awesome. Let's get into the playbook. Let's talk about how you actually do it. And honestly, the mechanics of it are surprisingly straightforward. Here's the basic game plan. First, you just confirm that your old 401k or traditional IRA is eligible. Easy enough. Second, you need a Roth IRA open and ready to receive the money. Third, and this is a big strategic choice, you decide how much to convert. All of it or just a little piece. Fourth, you fill out some paperwork. And fifth, you make darn sure you have a plan to pay the taxes when they're due. And that brings us to this really smart strategic choice. You don't have to convert everything at once. You could do a full conversion, rip the Band-Aid off, take the big tax hit and be done with it. Or you could do partial conversions. You could just move a bit of money over each year for several years. This lets you manage the tax impact and maybe stay in a lower tax bracket. It takes more planning, but it gives you way more flexibility. We're almost done, but before you run off and start this process, we have to talk about the fine print. These are the non-negotiable rules of the road. Getting these wrong can be a very expensive mistake, so you have to understand them. This is a big one for anyone who is 73 or older. If you're required to take money out of your IRA, your RMD, you must do that first. You have to take your required distribution for the year, and only then can you convert any of the money that's left over. You can't convert your RMD. Okay, this next one gets into the weeds a little bit, but it's critical. It's called the pro rata rule. Basically, if you have a mix of pre-tax and after-tax money in your traditional IRAs, you can't just cherry-pick the after-tax money to convert and avoid a tax bill. The IRS looks at all your IRAs as one big pot. If that pot is 90% pre-tax money, then any conversion you do will be 90% taxable. And finally, this might be the most important rule of all. There are no do-overs. A Roth conversion is permanent. It's irreversible. A few years back, you could undo it, but not anymore. Once you make the move, that decision is final. It's a one-way street, so you have to be absolutely sure. So after looking at all of this, the benefits, the tough questions, the tricky rules, it all really boils down to this one single trade-off. Is paying taxes today a price that's worth paying for a potentially tax-free future down the road? Only you can answer that. It's your journey. So think it through, maybe talk with a financial pro, and decide if this is the right move for you. If you like calm explanations that simplify complex topics, make sure to like and subscribe for our weekly videos. You've got this. Thanks for watching.